everyone. So today I have another card kit to share. 10 cards, one kit from October 2020. This is a Spellbinder's kit, as you can see. It's called Dancing Santa, or Dance in Santa, excuse me. Let's get started with card number 1. I have some measurements laid out here for you and what you would need if you have the card kit. Moving right on in, we're going to take the panel, which was 5.5 by 4.25, and place it down on our white card base, and it fully covers the card base, standard A2 size card. And I love this snowflake pattern, so I'm going to make some snowbanks, and they measure 4.25 by approximately 1 3/4 is this bottom one, and I've used some mounting tape to pop it up off the card. And I used a die cut that's a swervy die cut, but you could just cut it out freehand. So the second one is approximately 4.25 inches by 2 3/8 of an inch. And this one I'm going to lay flat just above the bottom hill. So there's some variety of dimension on this card here. And because I have that thin edge there, I used a little glue to get that because the double stick tape was a little bit too thick for that. And place that down. And then we have some critters. Oh my goodness. I absolutely adore the bunny on this card. And from this kit, rather. And then we have an owl here with the present on a sled. So I'm going to place him down flat on the top hill. He's ready to go sledding. And this cute little bunny is going to go in the bottom right-hand corner there. And he's flat as well. So those, I just love the critters in this kit. But the bunny is one of my favorites, and another one in a different card. So I have this sentiment, it's a chipboard sticker. It says, "Oh, what fun." And then I have another chipboard sticker that I have backed onto this gold rectangle, which is about 7/8 of an inch by 1 1/8 of an inch. And then I took one of those puffy snowflakes and placed that over the tag hole. And it says "Laughing All the Way," and it had a tag hole on the top. So then I'm going to take 3 more snowflakes, the puffy stickers, and just place them around on the card. And that's it for card number 1. On to card number 2. Here are the supplies I used. This beautiful confetti dot paper is going to be the base, and that's 5.25 by 4 inches. It's a little bit smaller than the card base. You can place that down, and I think I have it written on here. Please forgive me, I am slightly out of frame there at the bottom. Yes, it's driving me nuts. Do you ever try to, scroll down when you're watching a video to move the screen down? I do that all the time, and I'm like, oh, it's out of frame. So please forgive me on that. The pink panel here is 4 3/8 by 3 1/8. And it's that medium. I think it's the slightly darker pink that came in the kit cardstock. And I'm using that to highlight these ornament die cuts that came in the kit. And I have them mounted up on the mounting squares that come in the kit. And I used every little bit. I always do. Use every little bit of the mounting tape, the sides and everything. So I'm going to place, I'm using the sentiment die cut down at the bottom that you can't see yet that says Merry Christmas to figure out where I want to put the ornaments. I'm going to place them down, and I thought I had some gold twine in my stash, but I couldn't find it. I really wanted to use that, and I thought it would look great with these ornaments to have them hanging from it, but alas, I could not find it. So I just used a sliver of the gold cardstock that comes in the kit, which is what you see me doing here. I was trying to figure out how best to adhere it, so I put the liquid glue right onto it, and then find a paper towel nearby to sop up the excess there. And I trimmed it down to like 1/8 of an inch, but that was still too thick, so then I just used my scissors to kind of try to freehand it. It's not perfect, but I think you can't even tell that it's not perfectly straight, really. So that's what I'm doing here. And then I'm going to trim off the excess there very carefully, because the wet glue does take a moment to dry. But if you did have some string or something in your stash at home, I think that would look really nice too. But I'm glad they have the gold card. So that was the sentiment there, Merry Christmas. And I'm just going to place that down in the bottom left-hand corner, or left hand, excuse me, right hand corner there. Kind of not quite, I don't know what I'm saying. Never mind. That's card number 2. So moving on to card number 3. We have the supplies here that I used. And starting with the panel, it is again 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. It's going to cover the card base. And it's this red pattern paper that came in the paper pad with the kit. It's kind of got a florally design, but it's tone on tone, or at least pretty close to tone on tone. So I liked that it was subtle enough, not too busy. And then I have this light green kind of plaid, which is 4 3/8 by 3 1/8 that I'm going to put here in the center, going with a landscape orientation here. And then another of the chipboard stickers, this Christmas tree. And I have 3 of the die cut presents. So this green one, I'm going to put a little slanted on the left-hand side. And then I take the red one and I use my tree to figure out where I want it, because I want these 2 to be slightly behind the tree. And then I'm going to place the tree down. And the third present, which is a green with a red packaging, or red bow, which I have mounted on the mounting tape, I'm going to place in front, kind of diagonally here. So we also have some varying levels there. And then I have this die cut sentiment. It says Merry Christmas. It's kind of in a darker red, kind of burgundy actually, and with the gold accents. So I think it looks nice with it all. And then some more of these puffy stickers, which, you know, when I first saw them, I thought I didn't know what I'd use them for, but they've actually turned out to be quite handy. And so I'm placing a trio of those down in the bottom there. And then I take the sequins that come in the kit, and this chipboard tree looked like it was perfect for embellishing those white ornaments. So the tiniest, I think there's 2 sizes of sequins, a really tiny one, which is the one I'm using with my jewel picker thing, and I don't know how other people seem to seamlessly and perfectly place their little jewels and sequins, but not me. You can see I use my finger and I use this tool to help me because they were not cooperating at times. But I like how they're just ever so slightly smaller than the white circle on the tree. And so when that glue dries clear, it has a variety of shape. It's got the tiny sequin hole in the middle and then a little bit of white accent. I really like how that turned out. So that is card number 3. On to card number 4. Here are my supplies that I use. And we're going to start with the beautiful red cardstock that comes in the kit. I just love this color. Nice and sturdy cardstock. And that is going to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So again, it's covering the full size, full card size. Card, whatever. I'm losing my train of thought here. But moving on from that thought, I'm going to place this down. I think I really struggled getting this one down straight, so I cut out a bunch of that stuff. And then, this is one of my favorite pattern papers also, was the holly. I don't know why. Maybe it's the red and green complement, but I love the look of that holly. So that panel is going to be 4 1/8 by 5 1/8, just ever so slightly smaller than the red panel. And I'm going to place that down. I hope you can't hear my phone making message noises in the background. I'm sorry about that. So then there's these die cut banners, and the red and white diagonal stripe one is going to go down first, and I want to overlap the black and white polka dot one. These are, they have a tag hole, but I didn't poke that out. I left it, and I don't really want them to be tags. They're not going to function as tags on this card, so I kind of end up covering up those holes with the holly, but they stayed intact, so it wasn't really a problem anyway. But you can't even tell that they have a tag hole by the end of this. So taking the beautiful die cut holly as an accent there, and see how I move it just slightly to completely cover up the holes on the other die cuts. So I have this strip of white cardstock, 1/2 inch by 3 inches, which I'm going to stamp on. Here's the stamp set. I'm going to use the Make It Jolly. I have some sticky ink, you know, embossing ink, and then I have some gold embossing powder there. And so I'm going to prep with some powder that little strip so that I get a nice impression and less static for my embossing powder. Pressing it down on my nice hard surface there. I am running low on this gold. I have some more gold somewhere, but it's in a drawer, and so this one's so tiny it's always handy, so I'm always using this one. And it actually is a nice gold color. I got it in some kit sometime. Not a Spellbinders kit, but some other one. I love tiny things, and I think I've said that before on my channel. So let's heat up this magical, wonderful embossing powder. And yeah, I wouldn't recommend holding it the way I am. Usually I use tweezers, and it was getting rather hot, but I did not burn myself. But yeah, don't do that. It's really not very careful. So I'm going to place it down here on the bottom right, but I think I would like to add, you know, a banner tail to it. So I'm trimming off a little bit, cutting right in the center there. I'm just eyeballing it and then trimming my tails. So then I'm going to place that down. We're almost done here, but the sequins are going to make another appearance. And I think I'm just doing like a little trio of them. It's kind of reminiscent of the holly berries, the little trio of holly berries. So I'm doing kind of a triangular pattern there. And yes, again, I'm using that tiny one. Did I mention I love tiny things? Sequins are naturally pretty tiny, but these tinier ones, they're great. So that is it for card number 4. Moving on to card number 5 is another landscape orientation. And this is a beautiful pattern. It's almost Nordic. It's got trees and ornaments, I believe. So I'm going to take this in a 4 1/4 by 5 inch panel, covering the card base again. And this one, beware. Some of these patterns are, what do you call it? One direction? Directional. Yeah. Thankfully, I did not have any trouble putting that on the correct way, but there was one card where I had it upside down and realized it before I stuck it down, thankfully. Now this black cardstock is 1 1/4 inches by 5 and it's going to go on the bottom third-ish section of the card. It's not quite a third, but yes. I'm going to place that down. And then I take this beautiful red scallop strip. It has these gold polka dot pattern. I think it's very attractive. I love that. It's very nice looking. And I'm going to place that down on the seam of those two papers and trim off. There's a tiny bit of excess, so I'm going to trim that off. And another chipboard sticker here. This one is adorable. Is he not? It's kind of a Rudolph deer, reindeer. I'm not sure. He looks more like a deer, but he's got the red nose, so he must be a reindeer. Anywho, and I have this sentiment, Noel, in the red with the gold accent. Now this circle here, I have cut this circle out in, I believe, 1 1/4 inch and taken the chipboard Mary sticker and placed it on. And then I took a strip of the gold cardstock in a 1/2 inch by 2 inches and cut it in half. Well, not in half, almost in half, and added tails to make this, to embellish this little focal point here. And that's it for card number 5. Card number 6. Here are the supplies. There's one thing missing. I'll show you later. I'm going to use a stamp set here, and I'm using the And Bright out of the stamp set. So we're going to start out with the stamping part. I have prepped the card base there, and I'm going to use, that was Versamark Onyx Black ink there. I'm loving this stuff. It's a pigment-based ink. It gets really good stamping impressions, and yes, you can use it to emboss. So I'm very quick about this. I don't want to take any chances. But yeah, go right into throwing the same gold embossing powder on there. And I checked it beforehand because I was like, I don't know if I want a lot of black to show, but it turns out really nice. It just gives that gold a little more fullness maybe, but I have been very happy with the stamping that I have got with this Versamark little tiny ink pad, and it's fairly new to me, but yeah. I like it when a thing goes well. So I'm heating the underside first, just so my powder doesn't blow away, and it also prevents warping of the card to kind of do a 2-step process there. Start underneath and then go on top. And I didn't have any warping of the card, so that's good. Do a quick little clean before I move this stamping platform out of the way. And then I'm going to assemble the card. So originally I was thinking about using the Mary, but it turned out to be a little too big, the stamped version there. So we've got some squares, and this is the die cut sentiment that I end up using in the end. I'm showing that there. And it does say Mary, so we're still same sentiment, Merry and bright, but just a little different way. So I've got these gold pieces, squares. They're 1 3/4 inch squares. And I'm going to place them down. I'm using a little extra liquid adhesive just to make sure I get it fully covered there. And I didn't measure the exact dimensions, but I'm kind of centering them with this maybe approximately 1/8 inch separation between the squares. And it ends up looking a little bit like a window. So I kind of like that look. So I'm going to place all 4 squares down. This I took my time on, because I believe this is 2 times speed here, but it's still rather slow because, you know, it's very careful about this part to get, because I want those gaps in the center, those little 1/8 inch white gaps to be straight, for one, which I struggle with straight, and I want them all to be the same, you know, same width. So this was, yeah, a little tedious, but worth it in the end, for sure. I mean, one could use a pencil and mark the lines. I thought about that, but nah, I didn't do it. So there it goes. It's very shiny, which I like the shiny, but sometimes it's a little much, and we're going to add the pattern papers on top, so don't worry about that. Now, I believe, let's see, what is this? This is, oh, the presents, right? I think it's a pink pattern paper with little gifts on it. I'm having some trouble getting the backing paper off there, but... Oh, and these squares are 1 1/2 inch squares, so just slightly smaller than the gold panel. There's the pink present one. And next I'm going to do the green polka dot one. I think the only card I use the pink present paper is in this one, but yeah, I might use it for something else later. And then we have the ornaments with the white background. And the final square will be the lights. I loved the lights. It has gold accents. It's really pretty paper. And it does feature in another card later. So, yeah. Get that down. This little tool I'm using is relatively new to me. I found it at a discount shop a while ago, but turns out it's really handy for this double stick tape because it has that flat end and I can press it down and then I can pull it up. So this is another one of those scallop border pieces, and I'm just kind of trying to get it to where it is a similar end on each edge, so it's overhanging a bit, but I trim off both sides. I didn't want it to end, you know, start on a scallop and end halfway through a scallop. Now this is the chipboard wreath here that I'm going to place down right in the center. It's almost like it's in the middle of a window. And the sentiment, which I have put up on some mounting tape, the Mary. So we got the Mary in the top corner and the Anne Bright down there embossed. And that's it. On to card number 7. This is another one of those directional ones. So we're going to start with this cute pattern paper and my little warning of don't put it on upside down. This is the one I had it all set up upside with the polar bears upside down, but I hadn't glued it on, and then I was like, wait a minute, all the polar bears are upside down. So thank goodness I noticed it before putting it on, which, you know, I mentioned that because I've done that so many times. Another snowbank, which I cut with, I think in one of the pictures I showed the little die that I have, but again, that could be free-handed. I would pencil it and then fussy cut it if I were to do it that way, and I have made this 5 1/2 inches by approximately 1 3/4 inches. That's the higher point there on the peak, and so it goes past the little polar bear print. And then I have these trees. I used up all of these trees, the die cuts, to get 2 of each, so... But they're really cute, although they have a very fragile neck at the tip. It's, you know, almost separated there. That's so thin. But the bonus there is you can kind of tilt it. You see how I kind of tilted the top there? So this other lighter green tree I am going to put on with some mounting tape. And it gives it a little whimsical look, I guess, with the top being able to be tilted so easily. I decide I need it tucked under the snowbank there. And then see how I tilt that tip there? Yeah. Just a little attitude in the tree. Here is this cute car with the tree. I'm going to put some liquid glue on the tires and mounting squares throughout the top. And he's just going to be traveling on the top of that snowbank there. I have some fond memories of recently, maybe last year, getting a tree in the woods. So the sentiment says jingle all the way and have one of those little stars. Yes, we went out and got cut on our own little tiny tree. I mean, it wasn't a big one, but it was more the experience we were going for in the woods. Plus, it was a lot easier to carry it all the way back to the car since it wasn't too big. And that's it for card number 7. On to card number 8 with these cute, happy snowmen. We're going to start with the background paper. It is 5 1/8 by 4 1/8 inches. And it is this blue with the snowmen and snowflakes. Seemed appropriate for a snowman card. So, let's place that down. And again, I have another snowbank. Now this snowbank, I believe I cut out of the excess from one of the other cards. I don't remember which one it was, but so I didn't cut another one. I just cut it out of the extra. And it's 2 inches by about 2 1/4 inches there. And that little scissor motion I was making was me saying, yes, you could fussy cut this. You don't need to have a little curvy die, but I just happened to have one, so I used that. And it has those stitching marks. That's why it has the lovely stitching marks on that, and I kind of like that. But it would be just as nice without the stitching marks. And so this one, the decision to give a little, 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch border there with the pattern paper sticking out was more just because that was the size of scrap I had. So the larger snowman is on some mounting squares. Happy up there on the top of the hill. The smaller snowman is going to go down flat on the left-hand side at the lower part of the hill. It's almost like they're rejoicing about the snow. And then I have a few snowflake die cuts. This one I used a bunch of mounting squares on. And I'm going to figure out where to put this here near the top. I kind of halfway feel like I should have moved it down a little bit, but I didn't. So that smallest snowflake is again mounted, and then the medium size is going to go flat. So a little trio of snowflakes here. And then I have a couple die cut sentiments. We have Let It Snow, which it has the speech bubble-like tail. So I put it down here by the little guy. He's saying, let it snow. And then this light blue sentiment with the word magical, and that's in gold. And I am trimming off the excess of that snowflake. That's the thing I'm not sure about. So maybe if I did it again, I'd move it down. And that's it for card number 8. Card number 9 has the green background paper with the polka dots that we saw in the card with the wreath. So this is 4 by 5 1/4, slightly smaller than the card base. And then I have in this card a large square. And oh look, yes, the lights are also in this card. They were in the wreath card as well. So the square is 3 1/4 inches square, and then I had just put repositionable adhesive on this originally. I didn't even know that so I'm glad I checked. So then I used liquid glue to put it down, rather than take the time with the double stick tape, even though I still have some. And then, yeah, the lights square is 3 by 3 inches. So you get so much double-sided adhesive in the kit that I have started accumulating them, because in the video sometimes it's just faster to use something else, but this time I did it pre-prep. Merry Christmas to you and your family. That is what that says there. And that one's on mounting tape there. And again, the trees. Yes, I love the shape of them. I love the color of them. They're great. So, oh, excuse me. I bumped my recorder. This one I used a little bit of liquid adhesive at the top because the double-sided tape doesn't go all the way up, just to make sure they stay. And did you see I tilted the top of the tree there? And I kind of wish I'd tilted the top of the tree the other way on this one, but alas, it is what it is. Then I have some chipboard stickers. Joy, Jolly. Let's start with the Jolly. We're going to place that down in the bottom right-hand corner of the square, and then the Joy will be just above and to the left. And I noticed, oh yeah, I was going to put this cute star. These stars have like gold polka dots. They're very nice. I love how the kit coordinates so well with itself. And again, some more of these puffy stickers. And I've got 3 of the gifts, and I'm going to place them down at the bottom of the tree, kind of tilted a little bit there. And that's it for card number 9. And lastly, we are moving on to card number 10. This is one of my favorites. And it's those creatures, yes, the cute little penguins. I love penguins, okay, and these penguins are particularly cute. So we have some of the dark red cardstock, and that, I believe, is 5 1/8 by 4 1/8, so just slightly smaller. And yeah, I had to cut out a bit of struggling there because I kept putting it on crooked. You know, it's hard when you don't give yourself much of a border there to work with. So this candy stripe diagonal pink, red, and white pattern paper, I have cut to 4 3/8 by 3 1/8. I'm going to place this at kind of an awkward angle, or not awkward, what am I saying? Cattywampus up in the top right. So not straight down. And then I have this cute lamppost. I wasn't sure what to do with it in the beginning, but I'm really glad I found a card to put it in because I just love that little lamppost there. And that's going in the bottom left. Then I have 2 circles here. My white circle is a 2-inch circle. I have a punch for that, so that was nice and easy. Pull it out the drawer and punch it. The black one is 2 1/4 inch. I had to pull out some nesting circle dies for that one, and then we're going to use the die cut bow on this card and some peppermint candies, which are also lovely, circular, and red and white pattern. So I have the largest peppermint candy there. I forget what size that is, and then he's going flat, and then the medium one, also flat, and the smallest one I've put a mounting square on, and it's right in the middle of those two, just popped up. So I'm going to go ahead and put the circle down now, the black circle. That already has the white circle on it. And I'm using my bow to figure out where to put it, because I want the bow below it like that. And again, yes, that is mounted, so it's going to be sticking out. Place it below the circle there. Then let's take these 2 little cuties, little penguins, and I didn't think they needed extra glue. I thought about it for a half second there, and they kind of look like they're just hanging out together, don't they? So then I have this little tiny candy cane with a bow. I'll show it to you in a moment here. There you go. I'm going to use some wet glue, and little penguin on the left is going to be holding it, kind of like offering it to little penguin on the right. Yeah. And then a circle, black circle that says Joy. This one I'm going to nestle in between that bottom peppermint candy and the bow there. And I kind of wish my bottom peppermint candy was slightly more to the right, but you know, I wasn't going to mess with it at that point. And the sentiment here says, Season's Greetings. It does have the little speech bubble tail, but, you know, I'm going to put it crookedly on top. And that's it. Card number 10. Thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.